again, it's Craig here from fixitfallows, and today we're back in the garage and we're going to be working on my trusty Ribble R972. I think what we need to do is replace the chain. It's not terrible, but it's starting to get a little bit gritty. I've cleaned it a few times before, and why not, let's treat myself to a new chain. I've got the replacement chain here. It is a Dura-Ace HG-X11 11 speed, so we've got everything we need. The bike is already in the stand, and I have my chain brake here to remove the old chain. Whilst doing it, I think I might take the jockey wheels off, give them a clean up, just give the bearings a lube up, give it a quick visual check over, make sure everything's all right. I don't think I need to take the cassette off and give it a clean. It's in pretty good condition. One only other thing that I might look to do is give these pedals a service. You can take the spindles out, remove all the old grease, clean up the loose bearings, repack them with grease, give them a general going over, but that's for another day. So let's get on with it. Okay, I like to take a tie strap, feed it through the cage of the derailleur there, and just secure it to there. Therefore, when the chain is removed, the derailleur will not collapse back into its default position. It just makes it a little bit easier to work on. So we'll take the chain brake, pick a link here, put the chain in and start doing it up. There we go, we had the first click, that's the first side of the pin pushing through, and now you just keep doing it up, pushing that pin until some resistance is met. You don't really want to push that pin all the way out in case you want to put this chain back on, because once that pin comes out it's very tricky to get it back in. So let's just see if that's enough, and it is. You see, as you see, the chain is now broken, and the derailleur has stayed in an inaccessible position. So right, that's the end with the pin still in, so we don't want to feed that through the derailleur because the protruding pin will snag in the cage. So we want to pull the chain back through from the other way. Let's take it off of there, and then just start pulling it back through. There you go, chain is off. So here we are with the old chain and the new chain laid out next to one another, and then from that you can work out how many links you need to remove. So in actual fact I'm going to be using a speed link or a quick connector, whatever you want to call them. So I'll actually have to remove one extra link, as this replaces that one. So I shall be removing from here onwards, and that will give me the same length chain as the old one. Okay, so the excess links are removed. You can now see the new chain is one link shorter than the old one, and the speed links there will make up the difference. Okay, now just to give those jockey wheels a bit of a clean up. The bottom one is accessible from the outside of this hex head bolt here, and the top jockey wheel is from the other side, from there, you see. So taking both those bolts out, cage will come away and I can get to the jockey wheels. As this is Ultegra set up, you can see that there is sealed bearing in there and just these little metal plates that sit either side. So I'm just going to give this a nice wipe down and clean, give the bearings a wipe over. Just give them a feel spin. They're not so bad. They have a little insert in the middle that can come out. I'll give that a wipe, get rid of any grit on that. Just push that out. So you see there. That bearing actually feels pretty good. You see away it came. So there's the top bolt. I shall put it in there. There's the cage. And again, the jockey wheel, same setup as the top one. 2 little spacers. All good. Okay, so I'm just taking a wet wipe here and the jockey wheel and cleaning it off, and you can see the amount of dirt. Now the top jockey wheel. Oh no, that was the... I'd done the top one, didn't I? This is the bottom one. Okay, so now using a clean wet wipe, we'll just give them another going over to make sure there's all the dirt has been taken off. I tend to run ceramic, sort of ceramic wax lubricant on this bike, so it never gets particularly dirty. There we are, that one's clean. On these you'll notice this one is actually a T-pulley, that's tensioner pulley. So the tensioner pulley is the one at the bottom, the one nearest the ground, i.e. that one is the one keeping the tension on the chain. Whereas this one is actually called the guide pulley. This one goes at the top nearest the cassette, because this one, surprise surprise, guides the chain across the various ratios of your cassette. So you have a guide pulley and a tensioner pulley, and when you think about it logically, they're appropriately named. They also have on the tensioner pulley there are arrows dictating the direction of travel, so try to put that back on them the right way. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but over time the teeth do wear slightly, and obviously when you put it back you want them to go back on the same way. So that's that, and we'll just clean the little metal washers, get any grit and stuff off of those. Like so, and also the little sprung metal inserts. So we'll just take an Allen key like that, put the end of, cover it over with the wet wipe and just get it in there and give it a wipe around. See, there's a bit of dirt come out of there. Only takes a little bit of grit for you to get a tick or a click on the bike. There we go, that's that cleaned out. And do this the same for the inside of those bearings there. That's clean. And that's clean. Now it's just a case of putting it all back together. Right, actually, just to make my life a little bit easier here, I'm going to take out the rear wheel, so let's release the brake caliper, undo the skewer, the derailleur's just in the way a little bit, there we go. Just give that check, there's no play or wobble in that, that's all good. Okay, where's that derailleur shell, there we go. Just get a bit of better access now. One thing I didn't mention is that the bolts that go through the two jockey wheels are different lengths. This top one, i.e. the one that goes through the guide pulley, is actually shorter. Let's get that in there. Actually, just going to take that off. It's on this. On the mountain bikes, this really works, but on this, it's getting in the way. There we go. Let's get rid of that. I'll always put another one back on in a second. Put the bearing insert back in, like so. Place the flanged washers over like that. Make sure it spins freely. Yes, it does. Okay, so the tensioner pulley goes in there like so. The bolt goes through from this side. Make sure they spin freely. Okay, whilst we've got this amount of access, we might as well take a wet wipe and just give everything a nice buff up. Don't usually get this sort of access to your derailleur, do you, with the chain in place and the back wheel on and bits and pieces. So, a nice wipe over. So yeah, I've had this bike since 2014. It's been running the Ultegra full group set, which was the 6800, and it's been faultless, absolutely faultless. The gear changing is lovely and crisp. I'm still on the original cables, everything. It's just absolute beautiful. Okay, right, let's get the wheel back in. Okay, I suppose at this point I might as well give the teeth of the chainring a bit of a wipe off. go. Right, let's get that chain on there, shall we? Here it is. That lovely, nice and new and clean. Okay, so put it through the front derailleur and have a bit of excess hanging down there. It then goes over the cassette. Goes over the top of the guide pulley, and then it goes inside of the tab, back through, round under the tensioner pulley, like so. Now what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to drop the rear derailleur down to the smallest cog. Like that. Okay, there we are, goes round like so. I'm now going to take another, tie strap, place it round there, pull that cage, derailleur cage round. Like so. And that gives you the slack you need to place your chain together. Let's just double check that it's all in the right positions. Yes, even there it is. Okay, then I take my new speed link, one bit in that bit, another in that bit. So you get these pliers. These ones will open the links for you. It squeezes the links together and releases the chain. This one spreads the links apart and locks the chain in place. So we just put it in between there like that and pull, and you get a nice reassuring click. And there you are, that chain is linked together like so. So all we now need to do is to release this cable tie like so. So there we are, the chain's all back on. The gear changing's quite sweet. There we are, we're in the highest gear at the moment. And go through the rear cassette. And then if we switch down to the small at the front. We'll go through the range. All good. So there we go, chain has been replaced, everything been given a once over and checked. Now all that's to do is to go and ride the thing. So if you're out riding anytime soon, enjoy, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.